The first and most obvious question to anyone who reads this week's Parsha is, why is it called Chayei Sarah, the life of Sarah, when it doesn't talk about the life of Sarah at all? It just mentions her death in the first pasuk. And then it goes on to give a very lengthy, detailed accounting of Abraham purchasing land from the swindler Ephron so that he can bury Sarah in the cave of Machpelah. And then there's another very detailed, lengthy accounting of Eliezer on his journey to find a wife for Yitzchak. And while these things might seem unrelated to the life of Sarah, if we re-examine her life and if we look at the words in the Pesukim, we can see that it's actually very much related and this is appropriate name for the Parsha, because it starts off by saying, "Vayiyu Chayei Sarah 100 shana v'esrim shana sheva shanim shnei Chayei Sarah," that the life of Sarah was 127 years, shnei, the years of the life of Sarah. So this word shnei, the years of the life of Sarah, can also mean two. And of course it repeats it twice. So the pasuk is indicating to us that there's a duality to Sarah's life. That there was the physical aspect of her 127 years that she lived, but there was also her spiritual aspirations. And there were two things that were of prime importance to her. First was the land of Israel. She started off from when she was a little girl. They started the journey to Eretz Canaan. However, they didn't quite make it there. They settled along the way until God came to Abraham and told him, Lech Lecha, to go to the land of Canaan. And then they did go to the land of Canaan, but there was a famine and they were forced to leave. And Sarah was taken captive by Paro, which was surely a very traumatic event for her. And it didn't just happen once. After she was able to leave, it happened yet again, another time, that she was taken captive by the king Avimelech. And so her life, not in her own country, being forced to be, at the whim of being taken by other men in other places, was very difficult. All she wanted was a land that God promised her, where she could settle and where she didn't have to worry about being harassed or taken or all sorts of things happening, where she can live peacefully in her own land, the land of Canaan that God promised them. And the second most important thing to her was that she have children, that she have a legacy. We know that when she thought she couldn't conceive, she asked Abraham to take Hagar so that Sarah could be built through Hagar, because she wanted somebody to follow in her ways. She wanted this nation of Israel to come through her with all of their values that they held dear. Of course, then God did give her Yitzchak, but in her lifetime she wasn't able to see him married and to know that there was going to be the generations that would be coming after. So if you look at the next pasuk, there's something very fascinating, because it says, Vatamat Sarah b'Kiryat Arba, hi Chavron be'Eretz Canaan, vayavo Abraham l'spod Sarah livkota. So Sarah died in Kiryat Arba, which is Chavron, in the land of Canaan, and Abram came to eulogize her and livkota, to cry for her. Now this word livkota has a small chaf, and this is discussed by many commentaries why there's a small chaf and what it could possibly mean. But there's something very interesting that I haven't heard pointed out. The word kaf, if you take it by itself, it's ko, live ko ta. The first time we see the word ko is when God, in the Brit Ben HaBetarim, promised Abraham two things: that he would have a descendants like the stars of the sky, and that he would get the land of Israel. So he promised Abraham the people of Israel and the land of Israel. The two things that Abraham and Sarah, their mission in life together, was to have these two things. And when he livkota, he cried. It showed that he cried with this small chaf. The reason why it's small is he realized this this legacy that of living out, getting the land of Israel and the children of Israel. He was going to have to continue this mission on his own without her, and he mourned this of having to make sure that that was going to happen now on his own, of taking the next steps, which was to buy, the first time he took ownership, to buy this land of Hebron from Ephron. So that was the land. And the second thing was to make sure to find a wife for Yitzchak, that he would have children and they would build this nation of Israel. So these two things, it says that Abraham, he came, and many people say, where did he come from? Why wasn't he in Hebron? But I think this Vayavo Abraham, that Abraham came to eulogize and to cry for Sarah, was that he came to the realization that he's going to have to take the next steps to ensure that this is going to happen without Sarah. This was their mission that they had together. And now that she passed away, he was Bab Yamim, he was getting old, and he had to ensure that these two things happened by himself without Sarah by his side to do it together. And so when he was crying, it was in his mind that now he was alone on this mission. He didn't have Sarah to help him along. And he had to ensure, for also her sake and for her name, because it was so important to her that these things happened. So he got on it, and he, went through all of the everything it entailed to get the land and to get a wife for Yitzchak, so that the land of Israel and the nation of Israel would indeed happen after Sarah passed away. So when we pass away, we know that it's not over. Whatever our mission is, we've started, and people that we've affected can take the next steps. We live on through everything that we've done and everything that's important, and the people that we've touched in our lives, as we see from Sarah Imenu. So I hope you have a Shabbat Shalom and have a good one. Take care.